Hello, podcast land. My name is Miriam Raquel Sands. I like to go by my middle name Raquel, and I'm a women's health coach and career lifestyle designer. I help women quit jobs that no longer serve them or build businesses that match the lifestyle they really want and ultimately help them find their purpose and path in life. Today, first episode, we'll be talking about the Yamas, Yamas, and these are principles, part of yoga philosophy that help guide our lives, help inform our values, and uh, kind of the things that can help us orient ourselves with other people. Um, And so there are five yamas. The second episode, just as a teaser, are the niyamas, which are kind of the following up, maybe the action steps we can think of um, that work in partnership with the yamas. So if you are interested in all things kind of building a lifestyle based on your values, based on kind of reinventing yourself or always checking in with yourself and your North Compass. Stay tuned for more. Okay, so the first yama that we're going to get started with is called Ahimsa, and it's spelled Ahimsa. And basically, Ahimsa um, is translated as nonviolence. And some ways that we can think about nonviolence in terms of building our lifestyle, informing our actions, and the way we present ourselves in the world is number one, not harming others physically, but also not harming them emotionally. Um, so being considerate, being respectful, we might agree to disagree on things, on certain views or opinions. But nonviolence is really this idea of how can we also internally um, be honest with ourselves? What is it that we are maybe hiding, not sharing with ourselves? We don't want to admit, um, I'm not happy in this job specifically, or I'm not happy in this relationship. Something is missing in my life. These are some questions that we could be asking ourselves as we start to think about ahimsa. Um, this is the first yama because I think it is the foundation. Without vulnerability and real transparency, honesty, the rest of the yamas or the rest of the values can't really be layered on and stacked upon strongly, clearly. So um, I will leave you with this some of these prompts to maybe think about in your own life. Where are you kind of in denial in your career specifically, or business or relationships? What is it that you're withholding from yourself because you know deep down that if you were to admit that you're not happy about something, that would take risk, and you would have to do something about that person, that job or jobs, and that's uncomfortable. Dealing with the truth and being facing yourself and the situations honestly um, is not easy. So, of course, having compassion for yourself, for others, but that's where true honesty um, has its medicine. Is that it's a form of tough love, and hopefully, asking yourself some of these questions will help you. So, moving on to the second yama called Satya. And Satya is spelled Satya, and it stands for truthfulness, or it's translated into English as truthfulness. So we're still building on the honesty as a form of, or on top of the nonviolence value ethic. But this truthfulness, I feel, is really more about um, finding the environments, being in more of the external. If nonviolence, the first yama is maybe more internal, about inquiry and asking ourselves um, more of the hard hitting questions, then truthfulness might be the expression of that, or the external. So if I'm honest with myself about a job that is toxic and the people don't appreciate the value that I bring, or the money's not enough, or I don't feel that I would grow here, those could be certain examples. Then the truthfulness, the second yama, would be, okay, so what am I going to do about this? What can I truthfully do about this situation? What do I have control over? And what is not within my control? I could change my job. To do that, I may have to go back to school or save a lot of money. I might need to lean on other people for support, whether that's in my family or friends, other loved ones. I might have to edit my resume and network, get myself back out there. And then each one of those steps might have micro steps, might have other things um, that I need to work on in order to get each one of those things done. So it's really been even more taking that layer of honesty, or that level of honesty even deeper, um, about what can be done, what is up to me in terms of my control, in terms of where I'm at and feel accessible and safe, and what feels reasonable. So that's Satya, Satya, and really thinking about that kind of continuation of tough love. So maybe some questions, prompts for you would be, now that you are kind of putting yourself out there, you're honest with yourself about whatever the situation may be. Um, what is it that you feel is accessible for you in this moment? What do you feel is within your control or is not within your control? Um, what feels like um, less work, more effort, more bang for your buck, those sorts of things in terms of taking it to the next um, step. All right, so we're moving on to the third yama. Just as a reminder, there are five yamas in this first branch of yoga. There are, if I recall correctly, eight limbs of yoga. And so I know that the most familiar is, of course, asana and or asana and doing physical postures. But there are eight. That's one of the eight kind of branches, limbs that are part of kind of the yogic tree, and that kind of build out this um, uh, um, practice, or this ultimate realm of yoga. So today we're talking about life building and different ways that we can question, ask ourselves deeply, so that we can reset and come back to ourselves, cultivate our North Compass. So um, this one that we'll be talking about now is Asteya, and that is spelled Astey, and it's translated as non stealing. So we're building up. I believe that each yama, each value, builds on the next one. So the first one, as a refresher, we were talking about honesty, or nonviolence, but I interpreted that as honesty. That so the first one was nonviolence. The second one is truthfulness, and then now we are in non-stealing. Um, so non-stealing can be very obvious in not stealing. Don't rob other people physically, their wallets or whatever it is. But also, we can look at it as not robbing them or others of the truth, of our real expressions, of our authenticity. Um, don't rob others of the truth of how we want to show up and what we feel inside, being able to be vulnerable with them, being able to express our discomforts, our angers, our fears. And then internally, we can interpret this as not stealing from ourselves. The opportunities that we really want to pursue for ourselves, be that a job, a business, or a relationship, a family. If we really want to travel somewhere, not stealing from ourselves the possibilities, the dreams. Because truly, I believe that this life is meant for us to be able to, yes, collectively contribute and strengthen the whole, but that can only happen if we each show up authentically and honestly and respectfully, of course, but we are true to ourselves. So, some questions to put out there for you would be, where have I not shown up fully? Be that in a certain relationship, just having a job to survive, just because you paid for your degree, I can relate, and you need to make use of that because you are following someone else's dreams and expectations. Um, where are you not fully showing up for yourself, for your um, dreams and possibilities and pursuits? Um, that can be a hard question because although we may know the answer easily or not so easily, because we doubt ourselves and second guess ourselves, but kind of sitting with that question maybe once a week, and all these questions that I provide um, will be available in the transcript, the blog that I'll be providing, and I'll link down below. And I just recommend you sit with these questions once a week, once a month, once a season, twice a year, whatever makes sense for you. But it's super important, I believe, to sit with ourselves and really be able to um, be honest, be vulnerable, because if we don't have our own back and do not support ourselves, then it will be very hard to seek support elsewhere, and put that responsibility on someone else. So that was Asteya, non-stealing. We will be moving on to the fourth one, which is called, oof, the pronunciation, I might I might really kill this one. Um, Brahmacharya, and it's a long one, but I'll spell it so that you all can look it up on your own time and maybe find more resources about it. So it's spelled Brahmacharya, Brahmacharya, and it is translated as non excess. So literally, it could be interpreted as everything in moderation, in balance, having exactly what you need, not too little, not too much. An example in my own life, um, to maybe help this bring into bigger context, um, I had a job that was paying me pretty much six figures. And I felt like I had finally, achieved success. I had finally ticked off or checked off that box that society seems to impose about money and wealth. And um, I had over 15 jobs, some temporary, some contract, so many different jobs to finally find my path and land that six-figure job. So 10 years of doing continuous searching, soul searching, job searching, all the types of searching that you could imagine. And I had that job for 2 years, um, and it's really true what they say, that as your income increases, your lifestyle increases, because I started, eating out more, and that was a pleasure. It was a joy to be able to um, treat others and invite myself, um, and got into some other courses and just paid for other things, and it felt easy. But it also felt, I realized, excessive, because I knew that I couldn't sustain that lifestyle of um, feeling like I had to spend that money, or feeling that I didn't know how to be comfortable with having so much, what for me felt like a lot, and still living in kind of an area where things were expensive, and I wasn't saving as aggressively as I could have. Um, so, this idea of non excess, of really understanding what it is that we need, our basic essentials, like they talk about in the hierarchy and I think, what is it called? The hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I think. And understanding that, of course, we all need shelter and food, safety, all different, the different levels of safety, emotional, physical, spiritual, mental, everything. And those are needs versus wants. And I had to really reckon with myself, really question myself. This job that I was making good money in all appearances, and being able to really live a different lifestyle than I was accustomed to. But um, I was not happy internally. I was not happy in the job itself, with the people or the environment. And so all of this effort and all of the waste, waste of energy, waste of my own intentions, um, and heart and mind, like everything, it just felt like a waste, even though I was supposed to have been happy and grateful of earning so much money. So I put this to you about, what is it that you're indulging in or taking part in that is creating too much stress, effort, too much of what you don't need, and that maybe perhaps you can find a way to give to others in your life. So, is the job creating too much stress, too much um, responsibility, not enough creativity, not enough work from home, that work life balance that we're always looking for? Are the people in your life taking too much um, effort and energy from you? Do you feel that you haven't um, received what you really need? So, these are some questions to think about with brahmacharya, in terms of how you would like to build your life, how you want to um, check in with yourself about your job, business, people. Um, and like I said, these questions I'll be providing in the link in the description below, and you can have access to them whenever you feel like going through them. So the last yama, because there are five, is a parigraha, I believe, and it's translated to non-possessiveness. So this is the last of the five yamas, and like I said, they've each built one on top of another. So when we talk about non-possessiveness, and I'll go back to my previous example of that six-figure job where I had to sit with myself and really be honest about me holding on to it, possessing it. Or also, we can think about it as the job was possessing me and I was no longer in control of my job, of my path, my destiny, of my choices, because everything had seemed to lead up to that point of getting that job or a similar job where I had um, financial success and internally was dying inside. Um, so, to be non possessive, I really think, is to have a sense of detachment and more of a sense of control, strength internally, that regardless of what happens around us or beyond our control, that we, that you can um, let go and remain grounded, clear, remain strong in your North Compass, in your internal spirit and energies and um, confidence. So, another thing, of course, is to not hold on too tightly, to not possess, of course, another person or other things. So, some questions that come to mind for me when thinking about this is, how are we holding on to certain jobs, circumstances, people, environments out of wanting to control? So maybe if I had stayed in that job, um, I wouldn't have had to, because I was um, possessed by that job or by the idea of safety, stability. I was no longer looking at or internalizing safety and strength within myself. So in some ways, that possessiveness was a defense mechanism, was a form of me not having to do the deep work and reflecting in myself. Um, but also, it could be, who is possessing me? Like, do I feel that there are people, places, things that are um, taking too much of me and abusing my efforts? So it can be looked at from multiple angles. I wanted to provide my specific example to help maybe give context and um, flesh it out a little bit, this idea of non-possessiveness. um so some of the questions, again, sorry, jumping around a little bit, some questions that come to mind are, what are you possessing? And that could be literal, like a decluttering and a Marie Kondo type um, train of thought. Or it could be, what is it that you're holding on to, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that's no longer serving you? And that could be, like I was, holding on to a job, a situation, an environment that felt very comfortable because it's what I was used to for so long and what I was ingrained to seek out, until something inside me just broke. and I could no longer use that as a buoy, a safety vessel. Um, what is it that you feel other people are taking too much of your energy, or that could be personal relationships? So these are some of the questions. And as we wrap up this episode, I will, like I said, have a link. I'm sorry, questions, but also, yes, a link to the transcript of this episode with all of the questions, so that you can easily access them. And I would recommend to start out once a week, maybe 5-10 minutes. I don't know how much time you might have in your life or how much energy, mental, emotional, spiritual, you have to asking these difficult, um, deep questions. And if a week is not possible, then once a month, or however, whatever feels right for you. But I really hope that these um, principles, these yogic values, because yoga is translated as yolk, which is, yes, as an egg, that yellow piece, but essentially that center kind of nucleus, that core that hopefully helps us be balanced, be in harmony with ourselves, internally, externally, and then with others and the environment. And so that's yoga, right? And we're looking for ways to hopefully be true to ourselves, without harming ourselves or harming others in the process. And then being able to really shape our lives constructively and prosperously, is that a word? To be prosperous, and lead by example. So I'll see you all for the second episode, where we'll go into how we can start to take more action or dive even deeper with this yoga kind of framework. And it will be based on the Yamas, which are another 5 set of tools. And I will also have a set of questions for those. But I will see you all on the next episode. If you have any comments, questions, I'd love to hear them in the comment section, or if you'd like to know more about me and the work that I do, about lifestyle and career business design, please go to my website at miriamraquelsands.com, and I will see you next time. Bye.